Hi, this is a Gypsy Rover with Jokers on Duty, and just sitting back and actually, just I'm just trying to get comfortable here. Trying to just having my tea here, and getting things here all ready for this weekend. For tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night. Uh, the hunters, the haunted hunters cabin, haunted house, and uh, that's coming on its way, and and two, it's like it's the MF sessions tonight was really good, where Michael's showing you how to do wrong selfie. I haven't ready to show you that one yet. The selfies there. The one that I slipped with is a vampire selfie. So it because see it's got where it's more the it's got the represents the fangs, vampire fangs. So in their part of the world that represent like they have their own ways of communicating. So they've got the actual vampire selfie, and then there you've got your peace. Vampires come in peace, love, positivity. Then you have peace, love, and positivity. So and then you've got the other one, which is okay, and then that one is like Mike said, represents the number 7, and that. So I may have even been doing it wrong too. I don't know, but no, there is different. What you call there is different symbol communications, and also too, secret societies are known to use those hand symbols too, which could also mean something different. So, which is so in there, and so to that, so again, they have different meanings for it. Like we have peace, love, positivity. Their selfies could actually, or their hand motions could mean something totally different, like codes or whatever. So, which is pretty good. So, technically, you're actually learning what you call actual different symbols in hand language. Or again, like Mike puts it, it's a different form of sign language. So, for generations and decades, again, secret societies would have used those to communicate with their own membership people. So, again, that is pretty cool on that, and I was having fun too on the last before when I was doing some of the other Jokers on duties and that. If you do wish to go back and follow the Dark Hunters Cabin card game challenge, they're on my Facebook and that kind of thing. You can follow them all the way through some of the social sessions and that. And so this here is going to be the haunted Hunters Cabin. A haunted house of it. So just like you've seen in the last one was a twist. So the first night, which would be tomorrow night, it'll be the in the dark silence of it with the lit up fireplace, and the lights are gonna go orange. And and I also found out today that the Jokers on Duty for Jokers on Duty is going to overtake 2 bedrooms. So my wife is making the living room into her bedroom. She said she's going to keep that clean. So that way the filming. So Jokers on Duty is going to move into technically 2 bedrooms. So it'll be operating out of there. There will be. Uh, so again, like I'm going to have it set up in one room, and then I'm going to have it set up in the other room because the other room is going to be like a lounge. So that's going to be the main studio. The lounge is going to be the main studio. So again, so if I want to move into the like sometimes like my desktop computer that I'm building to do my filming will be done in the lounge room where the TV is, and that, and I do have the proper connection on there to put the tower on there on the TV to run off the TV. But I have to get a separate. I have to buy a separate TV for that because, like I said, I got my PS3 on there. I've got my DVD player on there because it's going to take way too much energy, so or produce way too much energy. So again, when I get a separate TV, then there's gonna be the one TV is gonna have all the game systems on it. The other TV is gonna be for the PC tower, which is gonna be the big operator, a big monitor. So that way it'll be set up to run my JODs, my Jokers on Duties, and that so I can still do my live streaming and that, but bring it up bigger and that kind of thing. So again, and that so that's what the plans are, and next year's Hunter's Cabin is going to be very challenging because everything is going to have to be set up between the two rooms. So again, it means the haunted house is going to go a little tighter, like it did before. So I'm sorry to all these dummies. You can complain all you want, but you're being cramped back into a small room, and that so that'll be okay. So that'll be next year, anyways. I'll figure out when it comes down to next Halloween next year, and which over the summer I'll be mapping it out, adding to it, totally planning it out. Yet I'm still gonna write up some trivia questions. There's gonna be some trivia questions that are gonna be read off on here. The trivia questions will be written out on my Facebook. You can answer them if you enjoy answering them. But again, the video itself is going to give you the question and the answers. So, like I did to make it easier, because some trivia questions is probably be new to people, and some people are just not good with answering trivia questions. So it makes it a lot easier. So, like I said, there was already this trivia question on video that was done on here from the Dark Hunter's Cabin Challenge. From when this haunted section is done, then there will be trivia questions on that. Basically, what a lot of people like is the true and false questions. You can answer true or false. You write the question, and then beside it you have the little check boxes, and you put a T box. You put your T boxes a line straight down, and then your F boxes. So that way you can click either side. Well, not click, but actually, answer either side, true or false. Now, some of the true and false questions, they say there's really no wrong answer. Mostly there isn't. It's just more. If you really look at the true and false questions, it's just basically more common sense than anything, and that kind of thing. And eventually, too. Jokers on Duty is going to start a Jokers on Duty coffee club, and I drink sometimes both tea, pop, coffee. So anyhow, there may be a bit of a coffee club once everything's changed over again, and there'll probably be a bit of a coffee club on here, like a coffee social, that kind of thing on here. and it's going to, it's like any videos, and that, yeah, our Jokers on Duty, we do have our fun videos. Well, we do have our comedy videos. I've got the electronical costumes on here. Christmas is probably going to see more of that, because Christmas time, there may be, you'll see Santa Claus costumes get it added. You'll see elf costumes being added. Right now it's big on Star Wars. Icons on here have to do with Star Wars, Walking Dead, the popular stuff like Assassin's Creed, like that's already there. Everyday masks, flower frames. So in the actual electronical costume come Christmas time, there's probably going to be a New Year's one. A couple come on here. There's probably going to be a couple Christmas ones coming on here. I just kind of work with them as they come on. You got funny ones. Like I got a funny ab with those, but I don't know I haven't figured out how to work them. They're new ones. I haven't figured out how to work them into the video stream yet. They may automatically show up, or they might be taking some time to show up. So there's a whole whack of them there. So again, that's that is going to be quite interesting, because and it's pretty good because it's bringing my shows up. So it's it is quite. It's one of those comical things to see. A lot of people are kind of getting used to the Hunter's Cabin. Like I said, Hunter's Cabin was a story that was told to me as a kid, which I ended up making it my own story because I've added some things to it. I've added my experience of my nightmares at summer camp to it, and everything I experienced to it. So, it became, it was, like I said, like the priest that actually told it never published it. He had the chance to, but he never published it. So technically I put my nightmare experiences to it, which I outgrew, and that kind of thing. So I'm taking you back into my childhood, more or less, with those, with this story, and which I'm bringing out my experience, even though now I grew out of it, and how it introduced me to horror movies and that kind of thing, into the horror movie world and that kind of thing, and that. So again, that was that is a quite quite interesting journey as a kid, and like I said, I let you know that this story, like they said at one time, did happen, but like I said, it was a story that was a legend that basically one time really happened in Peterborough, Ontario, and Bobcaygeon and Haliburton area, and that. So now I'm living out here in Wiarton on the south Bruce Peninsula. It gave me a good idea to use this as a theme, or introduce it as a Halloween theme, and create a bigger, add to it, to my camp experience, and use my old camp story to make it more interesting. So that's why it had the twist it did in the Dark Hunter's Cabin challenge with the card game and everything else like that. Like I said, now it's like I said, I'm bringing it back I am bringing it back now for Halloween weekend, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's going to be live here on Facebook, and that kind of thing. But it is now. This is the part where I'm taking you and into the darkness of it, in a lit up fireplace room, and which will replicate the haunting when the haunting started in the cabin, and how the fireplace came on. Again, like I said, I reacted out. Again, with just to let people know about the names of the characters in the Hunter's Cabin story. Back those days, names was people had the same names as people today. So again, I'm not talking about anybody by the name of Ian or Ivan today. I am talking about characteristics in a historical horror legend that was named Ian and Ivan, that actually were two native headless hunters, and that did themselves in, and then came back as apparitions to haunt the cabin and that kind of thing. And that was actually projected in the story. But it's, again, this is the way the story is told. It is never meant to be offensive towards anybody. It's not meant to be a racist story of any kind. This is authentical, what you call an actual authentical ghost legend, and when they're authentical ghost legends like that, they're actually it is told the way it's always been told, and and that's why I thought it would be a good fit for a Halloween theme. So since now I'm too old to go trick-or-treating, I don't have the house anymore. I don't have that way. I'm not going to do the outside haunted houses, because I'm in an apartment building now, so I've replicated my apartment as Hunter's Cabin, and that kind of thing. So because if I was actually doing this in the real Hunter's Cabin, I rented the real Hunter's Cabin for a weekend or whatever, there would have been aberrations caught. But again, there could be still aberrations caught here, because there was a female's voice that did speak up in this home, and that kind of thing. And again, we're not going to let this ruin Halloween anyway, so in the darkness, the quietness of it, again, I will be doing voices of Ian and Ivan again, and that kind of thing. And if there is any, like I said, if another voice comes across this live video stream of an apparition being actually in here, then it's automatically, now because technology is high enough, it'll be caught on the video stream, and then when you go to post it, you can't help but be in there. So again, this is a Halloween theme based on a camp story from my childhood. So and then like a lot of it's based on my own basically life experience, which a lot of people do, and they like to share that kind of thing, and but again, to let you know that the characters, the two main characters in the story, Ian and Ivan, they're not referring to anybody with those names today, because what a lot of people don't understand is back 100 years ago, the first names were the same as they are today. People used to name and raised back 100 years ago, kids were named the same names as they were today, being named today. And, these were about these two brothers. They grew up, twin brothers. They grew up, and they went off, built their own cabin, and they took each other's life, and then they came back. The one did first, and then he came back as an apparition, but he ended up being a witch or whatever, and then he came back and haunt, and took his brother's head or whatever. It was authentical. What you call it, a very, very frightening story, and which fits into the Halloween theme. Again, it's not. It is you're gonna see a lot of Halloween time. You are gonna see a lot of, even for the trick-or-treaters, you're going to see a lot of houses lit up. You're going to see them all darkened down, and they're going to be set up as some young generation nowadays. They like to do haunted houses. So like my haunted houses, I'm doing live Facebook streams so people can enjoy them, and that kind of thing. So it's making its way. So now Now, because I've got the electronic costumes that Facebook has put on these live streams, uh, I think they're really cool because they're starting to fit that. And so it's making things a lot different. And for the Halloween weekend, for Halloween, it's making it spooky. Yes, a lot of Christian people this time of year will try to discourage people from Halloween. Halloween's a fun night, and especially if the kids are going, you taking your kids trick or treating, that's a fun night for them to go get free candy and that kind of thing. But for the adults, there's not really much to do, and so again, this brings a lot of enjoyment to people, and to see how Halloween's celebrated today. And that way, because people will live stream the haunted houses, that kind of thing. And me, I'm operating out of my own home. So, again, because we're in an apartment building, trick-or-treaters can't come to the doors. But sometimes our landlord sometimes will buy candy for the kids at the front, or sometimes she won't. I don't know about that. Maybe this year she might. One year she did. This year she may not. I don't know how they work that, or maybe some of the neighbors will get together, throw a table downstairs or whatever, and that kind of thing for the kids walking down the street. But again, it's it is an interesting story to pick up on. It is good for taking notes on. If, again, you can follow the actual Dark Hunters Cabin Challenge, because I think it basically is telling the whole story, and that. So, it is like I said, it makes a pretty good horror movie if it ever goes that direction. It's like I said, it's. It is, again, it is got its historicals to it, and like I said, at one time it really did happen. Today it is people will see it today as just as a ghost legend, but at one time it was an event, an historical event that really did happen. And like I said, it happened centuries ago, and it happened like 3 years before Sleepy Hollow ever did. And so I mean, you've got, like I said, they're two different stories. One had no author, and one had no writer. Sleepy Hollow had a writer and an author and a publisher. Hunter's Cabin never ever made it that far, because nobody ever knew about it, because, like I said, it was kept quiet by secret societies for some reason, and it was kept out of the publications because nobody, back those days, secret societies wouldn't let you write, or would not allow you to write or publish anything, because of the fact they had constitutional laws against their secret society being exploited. Well, today, now with the internet, secret societies or masonry organizations are now going public, because I have now started to see a lot of them on Facebook having their own Facebook page and everything like that. But 100 years ago, you would never ever hear about them in the newspaper. You would never see them in any newspaper or anything. And you didn't even know they were there. They were there, but you didn't even know they were there. That there was even existence or a movement. A lot of people seen them as what you call repetition aliens, and that. So they were shot. They were like isolated out with or they kept themselves very well isolated and underground. They didn't ever come to the top of the surface because there was so much. Back in the time of King James, there was so much persecution. There was so much. That there was so many of these laws that he had passed about that some of the things, I'm not saying they do it today, but back 100 years ago, Christians used to do evil things to people and accuse them of being witches or whatever, and they used to hang them and burn them and that kind of thing. That used to go on for centuries during the time of the witch trial famines. and that in the States. So again, that's why Halloween carries a very historical history, and it goes back to the Celtics, it goes back to the Irish, it goes back to everybody. It goes back to a festivity that the people that actually started Halloween were Christian people, and that were the actual authentic founders of in the early days, the early Christians in the Celtics, the Celtic Christians, or the Christians from Ireland, Scotland, had brought the traditions over with them, just like they did St. Patrick's Day, just like they did Valentine's Day, and so basically every holiday we have is all Irish, immigrated. So mostly, there is a very few now. If you look at the Yom Kippurs, that is a total different holiday. That is an actual Jewish, an actual Jewish holiday. That is way different. That also sometimes it falls in the month of October, or sometimes it follows closer to Easter. So, I mean, it is a thing that changes too. Because it has, again, that's the basically one of some of the other that is its own declared its own holiday. But far as every holiday civic holiday that's ever cycled our calendar has always been founded by the Irish or the Scottish. Either the Irish or the Scotch actually founded that holiday, or started that holiday. So, or brought those customs over with them when they came over, when they immigrated to Canada, or before Canada became a country. So, same with the United States. So, it's like I said, anything that's got that historical history to it. So it is quite interesting. Like me, I love for a hobby. I enjoy studying that stuff, and it is stuff that should never ever be forgotten about, and that kind of thing. But again, yes, I know there's sometimes there's as like again, if you look at the movie industry, you look at Hollywood, it has its up and downs, it has its issues. Like an Italian fellow used to tell me that. Excuse me, I used to know in Peterborough, Ontario, just growing up with as a kid. He said everybody has their issues. It's not like they always say, never judge a book by its cover. But there's always good in everybody. Just like some people believe there's evil in everybody, but that's not always true. Like everybody has, there is always good in every people. It's just because, yes, we do have, people go atheists for a lot of different reasons. Some are just born that way. Some do end up going that way. There's been a lot of Christians that have actually gone atheism because, again, like I did see a video on Facebook that was talking about that, and the reason is because there's all this stuff being preached, but there is no evidence. There, like they said, there is no proof of its actual existence. Where again, if you have, if you have a good historical ghost story that did happen at one time, historical societies have actual documentation of it actually happening. And it has probably been locked away for several reasons, or locked away in the vaults and the archives for several reasons, where Christianity material never makes an archive. So, again, there is, that there is not much. They can't actually invault really into an archive Christian material. They can, but they refuse to do it. They have the reasons why they don't do it, and that kind of thing, because as long as there's no evidence of it ever happening, or no actual original documentations of it even happening, to them it's all they think the Christian churches are just all making it up. and that. So again, again, if you've got like every ghost sighting that's ever happened, every alien or extraterrestrial extraterrestrial sightings or UFO sightings or whatever, all that stuff would have been actually been recorded, and would have been documentized and documentationized, and actually, and an actual archaeologist has been able to find stuff on that stuff. The reason why you have, if like I said, like my dad's mother, she was First Nation. She was from Dazarano. But again, when she was alive, she said the reason why they can go back, same with the grandkids, and get the heritage or whatever heritage or culture you come from, the reason why they can find that is because at one time your ancestors always kept a documentation of everything. And that's why even stuff like if you go back to the war, you go back to the Revolutionary War, you go back to the French-Indian War, you go back to all those times in history, the reason why it is archivable is because there's documentations of it, actually proof of it really happening. Same with Hunter's Cabin. There was proof that it actually did happen. So it'll be in the city of Kawartha Lakes down near Peterborough in their archives, and down near Bob Cage and Halliburton area, around their archive system, and it would have documentized at one time, and that kind of thing. And where Christian material, there is really no proof of anything, because it's always been manipulative. It's always technically been manipulated, and so like they're jumping from one story to another 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 story. So again, that's why a lot of atheists believe that because the fact they don't choose to believe in that is because the fact they have nobody's been ever showing any proof about a crucifixion ever happening. Like they know it did happen, but it didn't happen the way the churches will manipulate it to make you think it happened. That's their exaggeration, and adding to stuff. And what they've done is they can't 1,000 years ago they couldn't documentize anything that's being that manipulated. So again, there was no really, even archaeologists, they go in there's a lot of that stuff, whatever they do find on it, what the churches are saying does not line up with what the archaeologists are saying, or what a theologian will tell you, and because what they find, or their proof, if they did find anything, is different than the way the church has been telling you for years. So it doesn't line up. And that, like, if you want to know the real truth, if by any chance if they have archived anything, it is not going to be based on what the church is telling you. It is going to be based on something totally different, like an actual theologian that's actually going over to Israel, or going over to wherever to get the actual to actually research it. Is got the real truth. The church doesn't have the real truth. The church is technically will manipulate and make stuff up, and that kind of thing, or twist the truth around. So they make you think they're telling the truth. So technically they don't even understand or know themselves what the real truth is, or what the real powers of it is, or what the real power of it is capable of doing. That's why there's the archaeologists now have put together a documentation, and it's called a secrecy to their Holy Bible. I mean, it tells you the main truth on what they've actually found in those times, or going back to those times, have found what they actually found, and everything that they found does not line up with what the church is telling people. So technically, the documentation is actually saying, which is a true documentation, which is have been on Netflix, is actually saying that the church has been telling their congregation for years, or making their congregation believe in a lie. This is that there's no truth to what they're saying. That is all made up. So again, it is, you know, it a lot of, that's what I mean is, a lot of people believe it's just the church trying to swindle money and that kind of thing. So that's why you have, that's why more and more people are turning to atheism, is because, again, there is no proof, there's no evidence of anything. If they, when they do go to pull it out of an archive, it does not line up with what the churches are telling you. It is it is totally different. Again, like when I first heard the story of Hunter's Cabin and that kind of thing as a kid, and it scared me, and I had nightmares from it. I've actually came face to face with some of these shadow apparitions. I've actually seen them in the woods. I've actually heard them. And then back those days, they called in a ghost tracking team in the middle, had come out in the middle of the night, and when us campers were asleep, and they picked up the sounds themselves too. They picked up the sounds and the voices, but they said too they could not pick up the actual apparition on the video, because the video would not actually pick it up, because the fact that technology was not strong enough as it is today. And they said that they even said that those Camp Northern Lights grounds, the kids' camp, is actually authentically haunted. But they've got, like, again, they've got the proof to actually put. That's why they were able to archive it all, and that kind of thing, was because they've got a little bit of proof. They had the little bit of proof to do it. Again, so like anything when it comes down to authentical, you know, again with when it comes down to the actual paranormal end of the church end of it, again, because they're always manipulating, they're always exaggerating. There is no really evidence of any of it ever happening. With Hunter's Cabin, the reason how they knew it was happening is because they have found evidence. They have found a little bit of evidence to actually archive it. So again, so that way they're getting, with the high technology, they're picking up on. They can go back and they can always pick up on it, and that kind of thing. Now with the technology, you can actually put things onto, even with the Facebook live stream, you can catch whatever is in, spirit that's in that room at that time, or in the video. So that'll trap it on there. But back in 1989, 1990, there was, like I said, that the videos wouldn't pick a regular video camera wouldn't pick anything up. It would fade out of the camera. So, if you tried to, because they had the voice sounds, everything, and when they went to go use the video camera, it just all of a sudden, it would just automatically show there was nothing there. But it would pick up the voice and sounds, which was a start. So that's how they were able to get, the paranormal investigators. That's how they know about these hauntings that are authentically happening, is because they have the evidence to actually put into an archive. Christianity does not have the proper evidence or proof of anything they preached on, or whatever they've advertised, or whatever they told their congregation, or what they always tell their congregation. There's really no proof on it. They're just reading from a book that any idiot can publish within 24 hours. I hate to tell you that, but the reason why it has, to them, it's sacred. But like every group has their own books and that they'll say is sacred. But again, then there is the true sacred books. it's one of those things that are, it's that's why I said it's that's where they, that's how, people can actually tell nowadays that, like my grandfather, my mother's father, he was like, how they could find out his war history is because archaeologists have found enough evidence or proof of it even happening. That's how it can go into an archive. With when it comes down to stuff like, what some of the stuff that like for an example, like the stuff they'll go on about the Bible or whatever, that stuff saying that it happened. There's no proof of it even happening. So I mean, there's what proof they do have. It didn't happen the way the church is telling you it happened. They're not. That's why I said authentically, they're not telling you the real truth. The archaeologists, the theologians, are the ones really, if you really look at it, are the ones that have gone to these countries and have dug things up and actually have actually found the real evidence and are sitting with the real truth, and always has been for all these years. And that's so, again, so it's that's why I said a lot of the churches are sitting there lying to their congregation and that kind of thing, and they've been doing that for years and that kind of thing. And and with a lot of churches, it's more of a money investment than anything. Like where I like with service clubs now, any money they take in goes right to the community. It goes to help other communities. It goes to third world nation countries to help out these other countries, and that kind of thing. So, it's not religion. It's not greed. It's authentically going to help people in need, or it's actually going to help suffering countries to build we heard our guest speaker today with at our Rotary Club about a country that where they went in to build a well for water and to supply them clean water and that kind of thing. That is I would personally see as original MFerism there than I would ever see with actual Christianity, because they're actually going out and they're going into these other countries, and they're actually taking the money that they raise. They actually send over to build these things. So again, so that way, they have clean drinking water. They can end the starvation famine in their country. So that is I say that is pretty good on that. So it's just like they're trying to fight they're trying to find a cure for all these diseases. So again, it has to do with it all has to do with going into communities, other countries, that actually with the other countries, third world countries that are actually suffering, and that kind of thing. Like with like if some parts of the country, like there's some parts of the Philippines, and that in those countries, where they don't have the clean drinking water, they don't have what luxuries we have, or like Haiti or whatever. A lot of money that Rotary takes in, a lot of it, like the money goes to our communities, it is also divided, but it also goes internationally too. So into these third world countries to help provide, to fight diseases, or to take over cures to cure these diseases, to cure, to clean up their drinking water, to pay for education for kids there, to build schools, that kind of thing. I think they said they don't really build school or something like that. There is ways they said they have that they can build schools, but there's different ways they do it. But they have the ways of doing it. But that's what these service clubs are doing, and that is what it is seen as true peace, love, positivity to it also too. And that's why I always like about Mike's shows, because he always says spread peace, love, positivity wherever you go. Amongst your groups or whatever, or if your groups are sending people out to these other countries, and that kind of thing. That's what they always carry with them, is the membership, and that's what a lot of people see, and that kind of thing, and that. So to be able to do that, I personally haven't. I'm not. Me personally, I'm not financially fit to do that, but that these guys, they travel, and the rest of the other guys travel, and come winter time. Over the summer they're here, running the fair, running, Maple Magic. But the higher up guys, they go to these other countries, and when they go over, they're going over to do the work in that. So again, they're like there's one guy, he's going to Spain, and that. So. Which is pretty good. So, and then one guy, he went down to Florida. He's on vacation time in Florida, but then he's going to Mexico to do some work or whatever, and that. So, it's so that is pretty good. So, I mean, that is that's like I said, like there's a lot of those different those socials, and everybody has a purpose in life wherever they go, and that. So, and I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty great that there's people out there that are risk takers that will do that, not knowing the actual, or not even knowing the country, that particular country well enough, and especially coming from a country where we're in a free country, but Canada doesn't have what the States has. The States have like what you call an American embassy that will protect their own citizens. I don't know if we do, but I think that's what Revenue Canada is supposed to do here, but I don't think they really do that anymore, and that kind of thing. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know how that part of the system works, but yeah. Oh, my tea's getting cold, and so anyhow, as much like we sit here, we're enjoying our Halloween holiday and that kind of thing. In different parts of the world, it is probably celebrated totally different than the way we're used to celebrating it. Now, if you go back to where Halloween's originally from, to Ireland, it'll probably be celebrated totally different there. The Celtics there, according to history, like today, they have like a bonfire tradition or whatever, that celebrates Halloween, because that's originally where it comes from, or different parts of the world. They'll actually have what you call actual Halloween parades that go down the street, and where everybody dresses up and that kind of thing, and that. So like here in Canada, we have a parade for every festivity. We have Santa Claus parade for Christmas. Canada, some places have Canada Day, and now they have St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if we've ever started Halloween parade down on Halloween. I don't think we ever did, but maybe we will sometime in the future. I don't know, but it's quite interesting to see on how our calendar really works, and that excuse me, and that. So like I enjoy doing my jokers on duties and that kind of thing. It is a hobby. It's now we're getting down to a little less music. So again, because it's like I said, that's like Christmas is coming, and some people will play CDs in the background. Like I said, authentically, we're gonna, the Hunter's Cabin is gonna pick up again. Like I said, this weekend, and it's gonna be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's gonna be the old traditional. Now it's gonna be the old traditional Silence of the Night of Hunter's Cabin, and so is how it's gonna start. Maybe get that twice. Like I said, I've got some cool electronic costume on here that I may use in between. Again, if by any chance some of the actors like Michael Myers or whatever, or that may be following or whatever, again, I'll invite them, but if they decide to accept the invite and come through, be a guest speaker, that's fine. They don't, like I said, they don't have to if they don't wish to, because I know that they have a busy life and that kind of thing. They may talk, or like I said, well, with Michael Myers from Halloween cast or whatever, the actor, and same with Jason, the guy that played Jason Voorhees. Like I said, they're more mime type actors that played in the movie, so you didn't really hear those kind of characters talk. We're now again with Chucky. He wears a big mouth. I could see that quite funny because, with the Child's Play movie, because he always had something. He was supposed to have been a good guy doll, a little kid's good guy toy doll, but then he'd come to life and then he caused a lot of trouble at night, and he'd go around killing people. But if he didn't want anybody to know he was alive, he'd go back into his good guy doll stage and just act like a toy, and that kind of thing. I remember that. That was so funny. And you with the Nightmare on Elm Street, you've got Freddy Krueger, and that was played by Robert Englund, or whoever plays him now too, because there's a couple actors that played him. And that they may, if they follow in the stream and they send an invite, or if they ask to be invited in as a speaker and they're added as a guest, they may come in and talk. Too, there's also Linda Blair from The Exorcist. She's an actress with The Exorcist and has been since that movie was published. She's a really good actor, and that. So, again, be prepared, because as this weekend gets on its way, during even if it's during the silence of the Hunter's Cabin, when the cabin's dark silence, and let's say she comes through, and that, she could come through and ask to be added as a guest speaker, and that kind of thing. She be prepared, because she may appear as Captain Howdy, like she did in her movies, The Exorcist. And I think she also played the original Willy Wonka. I'm not sure. Maybe that was a different girl. I don't know. Different actress. But again, she in any movie she's played in, she was pretty good at it and that kind of thing. And she's again like where she lives in the States or Los Angeles, they're having their big downtown spook fest, and that where she was, she's got their haunted theme where she's bobbing up and down because she's possessed with the demon or whatever, and that which is kind of cool. But again, if you love horror movies, and like I said, I'm just a horror movie fan. I just buy them and collect them and watch them, and that kind of thing. And so we may hear from her if she asks for an invite, or I send an invite out to her and that kind of, or out to them if they want to join in on Jokers on Duty on the stream, and come in during the haunted house part of it. Excuse me. My dinner's trying to come up, but again, that's what's going to take place, and So anyhow, excuse me. Um, yeah, so that's what we got planned, and so that'd be good if and even if the Harry Potter actors come on too, and we'll be able to interview them too. If they're on or they wish to talk on here or whatever. But some of the horror movie ones may come through during the haunted house, Nights of the Haunted House. They may or may not. That'd be cool if they do. But to advise you, they may scare you a little bit. That's the only thing, because it's their character. And just like there's a new with Halloween 2018, there is a new Halloween movie coming out too. So I'm looking forward to buy tickets for that, to go see that at the movie theaters if that comes out. Or I'll just wait till when that's ready to come out on Blu-ray or DVD, then I'll go buy it at the store. Eventually, or if it comes on Netflix, then I'll watch it. But so again, there's possibility of those. It'll be. I figured it would be great because especially with Halloween, like what's Halloween without having a good scare? Like I said, even if I don't know if I have him on my list still or not, but the guy that played Norman Bates from Psycho, there's a couple guys that played that character, and even that, like if he was to come through as a guest speaker on Jokers on Duty during the haunted house end of it, you may actually hear from him, and that, but you may or may not. But that's up to them if they want to respond to that invitation or not. That's and that. So, but it'd be really, really cool on here if they did, and that. So, and like I said, like I know they've got their busy lives and that kind of thing. They got their movies they got to publish and that kind of thing. But it is making it'll actually would make the haunted house part really cool, and that way you just see that on here being live with them. But but like I said, like it's like this is going to be a very, very cool thing, and like I said, this is it is a live stream now for Halloween. So this is our Halloween celebration, and that kind of thing. So while the live streaming is going on, the doors will be locked. Like my door, sometimes I leave my door unlocked and that kind of thing when I'm home. Like if I go out, no, I never leave my door unlocked. I'm not that stupid. But again, while the live streaming is still going on, to avoid disruptions, which I think the Dark Hunter's Cabin Challenge part of it, the first part of it went good. The comeback of Hunter's Cabin, the Dark Halloween Hunter's Cabin, which is coming up now this weekend, that on my shows, it is going to be the door is actually going to be locked. And that way there is no disruption, because like I said, this is going to be a night live stream. A lot of the other people will be live streaming the haunted houses too, but they're all outside, so I can sit back and laugh at them because my stuff ain't blowing away. The wind's not picking it up, it's not getting wrecked, it's not flying all over the street, that kind of thing, and then I don't have to go chasing it like I used to. Even when I was a kid, I had to go chasing everything, and but I can sit back and watch these live streamers with the outdoor haunted houses and everything, the wind picking up, and strong winds if it's a windy night or whatever, rain and snowing, everything's getting drenched, everybody's getting wet, and they have electrical problems or the technical problems, and I'm sitting here and running a haunted house right out of my own apartment and that kind of thing, and doing the same thing, but I'm nice and dry. I'm nice and warm. There's no wind flying up and taking my stuff and flying it down the street. And I don't have to go chasing it. I know it's not funny. I'm not really trying to laugh at them. And actually, I think it is kind of funny. No?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You wrote on Facebook here something about
Shh, I'm on a live stream.
your wife won't let you shave?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah? Get comments from a couple of people on here.
Why?
Joanne Lancaster.
Oh, she takes things too seriously.
It does not matter how short, tall.
Oh yeah, I got that one. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That.
Did you get Patty?
Yeah, I got all that. I got all that shindig. Anyways, Yes, I got all them. So anyhow, the haunted house is gonna go on this weekend and that kind of thing, and that. So, I mean, that is going to be live streamed on here and that kind of thing. So, again, that is going to be interesting to see, because this time it is it's not the Dark Hunter's Cabin Challenge, like it was the card game. This is the Dark Halloween Haunted Hunter's Cabin. So that'd be pretty good, and I'll be looking forward to filming that. And like I said, if there's any apparitions floating around in here, anyways, it'll be caught on stream because technology is so high nowadays. The first two, like I said, they're going to be separate streams, but a couple separate streams, but because it'll be too hard to get it all in one. I can try to get it all into one, with just knowing that I'm not having the interruptions and anything else like that. And like I said, it's one of those haunted nights that, because it's the authentical haunted hunter's cabin, it's going to be the way it would have been then, where everything is going to be totally dead silent. It means I'm not going to want no noise in the background at all in it, because the stream will pick up excess noise and that kind of thing, and it'll ruin the stream. So, which again will start tomorrow night, which is the 27th to right into the 31st, and then there's going to be and then starting November you're gonna have the Christmas shows picking up and that kind of thing, and then the New Year's Eve countdown and that. So I'm gonna go in and see what kind of cool costume I found. Maybe it'll be the same one again. I don't know. If there ain't no new ones come in, it'll probably be the same one again. A couple of the same ones again. Oh no! Hit the wrong button. Sorry. I always have a habit of doing that.
I have a habit of doing everything.
I did not ask for your input. So anyhow, that. So, hi, and this was this one's really cool for the storytelling through the Hunter's Cabin, and that, and I hope everybody's enjoyed tonight's session, and that, and this is the Gypsy Rover, also going to play the part of Ian again, as the Dark Hunter's Halloween Haunted Hunter's Cabin haunted house, and Hunter's Cabin will be waiting for you, and that, and whatever you do, don't fall on the wicker square, and don't lose your head. Happy Halloween. Live. Again and again. They may check in, but they don't check out. This was your Jokers on Duty live from Hunter's Cabin. Happy Halloween, and trick or treat, and sweet dreams. Nighty night.